This is insane, but what I'm holding here may just be a piece of aviation history and part of an exclusive story about F-22 Raptors and UFOs. And I have it all thanks to my buddy Derek out of the 90th Dicemen up at Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson in Alaska. And I'll get back to that unit here in just a minute. But to know why this 20mm shell is such a big deal, we've got to start on February 4th of this year, when a U.S. Air Force F-22 Raptor shot down a Chinese surveillance balloon off the coast of South Carolina using an AIM-9X Sidewinder missile. Less than 1 week later, NORAD detected another unusual and similar object off the coast of Alaska. Now, on the 9th, that object crossed over into American airspace, and F-35s were scrambled to intercept. Over the span of 2 different intercepts, F-35 pilots made a number of observations about this unusual object, including reports from one pilot that as he approached the object, it interfered with his onboard sensors. Now, we know from these pilot reports that the object was about the size of a car, had no visible means of propulsion, and was flying at just about 40,000 feet, which is square in the middle of where commercial air traffic is usually flying. So the decision was made to shoot this object down out of what the DoD calls an abundance of caution. So F-22 Raptors were scrambled out of, you called it, Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson, to intercept and shoot down this unusual object. And we know from official reports that one of those Raptors would ultimately down it using an AIM-9X Sidewinder, just like in the other intercepts. But according to Derek from the 90th Dicemen, at least one of those F-22s first tried taking a pass at this unusual object using his onboard M61A2 Vulcan rotary cannon. Now, the M61 Vulcan is no joke. Not only does it fire these massive 20mm rounds with high explosive heads, but it fires them at a jaw-dropping 6,000 rounds per minute. Now that means with around 480 rounds on board, each F-22 Raptor has about 4.8 seconds of sustained fire from this weapon that basically amounts to a high explosive laser beam. But we also knew that 20mm rounds like this wouldn't take down a balloon, or whatever this object was, provided it was like a weather balloon. And we know that because back in 1998, a Canadian weather balloon went rogue, and 2 CF-18 Hornets were scrambled to intercept and shoot it down. They unloaded 1,000 of these 20mm rounds from the very same M61 Vulcan weapon system, the A1 rather than the A2, just a difference in weight. But because these balloons don't operate like the helium balloons you buy at the grocery store, when you poke holes in them at high altitude, it just creates a bunch of slow leaks. As a result, that weather balloon continued to drift for days and made it all the way to Finland before ultimately coming down. So I asked Derek if the Air Force already knew these 20mm shells wouldn't work, and chances are good that a balloon's fabric wouldn't be enough to detonate the high explosive heads on these rounds, why would he do it? And Derek, to his credit, said he didn't know. But there is a good chance that that Raptor pilot may have known this wouldn't work and instead opted to fire his Vulcan cannon at this unusual object to secure some really cool souvenirs for a rare Raptor shootdown. And if that's true, that pilot was definitely right. Now, for those of you wondering how would we get the shells back, the M61 Vulcan is a contained belt-fed system. In other words, the shells are kept in the belt even after they're fired. So there would be plenty of these shells to go around once the Raptor got back to Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson. And from what I've heard, there are a few of these rolling around in the hands of people from that unit. I am incredibly honored that they would send me one of these very rare Raptor shoot-down shells. Now, let's get back to the 90th Dicemen, because not only did Derek send me this incredible piece of memorabilia, but he also sent me this awesome Paradise F-22 Raptor 90th AMU patch. This awesome 5th gen patch, this incredible challenge coin for my collection, and maybe best of all, this F-22 Raptor 90th Dicemen UFO hunting patch that is just the coolest thing I've ever seen. Now, as incredible as this exclusive story about F-22s really trying to shoot down this UFO using their onboard 20mm cannons, and aside from the fact that the US has yet to disclose what this object was and claims that it never recovered any wreckage of it, aside from the fact that this shell may have genuinely been fired at a UFO, the coolest part of this whole story for me is finding out that Derek and the guys and gals at the 90th Dicemen watch my stuff. So I want to take this minute to thank you from the bottom of my heart, not just for this incredible swag, and not just for watching some of my videos, but for what you do every day. I don't think a month goes by where F-22 Raptors aren't scrambled out of Alaska to intercept inbound Russian nuclear-capable bombers and fighter escorts who are always trying to test America's air defenses. And it's the fact that people like Derek and the rest of the 90th Dicemen are up there at the top of their game that keeps Russia on its toes and leaves them knowing that America isn't worth messing with. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for this incredible package. Thanks for watching.